and I am one of the players fortunate enough to play on the great 1942 Falcon team, especially in that it was my rookie year. When the Detroit Tigers signed me, I was sent to Waynesboro, Virginia for spring training. I think my greatest thrill of my young life. As being signed to play professional baseball, you are now starting a career to someday play in a pennant winner and also play in a World Series. I was not that fortunate, but at least I've had a very short sprint with the Detroit Tigers in 1952 and with the Cincinnati Reds in 1953. Maybe the 3 years lost by the service duty didn't help, because at the age became a factor, but I also achieved the honor of playing on 3 championship teams in the minor leagues. When you were a rookie and a player on a Jamestown team that had Newman in left field, Sass in right field, Big Elmer Weinschreider on first base, Malevy on second base, McNair at shortstop, Teddy Wybernack at third base, and Tom Timmerman catching, with a pitching staff of Shupp, Charlie Plitt, Lyle Parkhurst, Big Charlie Medler, Rogala, Swanson, and Erickson. That's a team you will never forget. We had power, hitting, good fielding, and most of all, we had good pitching. With power hitting, you're never out of a ball game, and pitching always could stop a losing streak. Also, all of our teammates picked each other up, and we all pulled together. Some stories always come from when you're a rookie. Opening day, I will never forget when Johnny Newman asked me if I was chewing tobacco, and I gave him my answer, as all big leaguers chew tobacco. Before the game, I was chewing blackjack gum, and I think if Newman knew I was chewing blackjack gum, I may be on my way home now. I remember Newman and Sass each ran out to the foul line and moved 10 feet and yelled to me, "Okay, rookie, you got to the rest of the field to cover." You know, Newman was the catalyst of our team. Newman always wanted to pitch. But one day our catcher got hit on the finger, and poor Newman's pitching career went behind the plate. The visiting team had a man on second base, and wouldn't you know it, the first pitch was high and outside and over Newman's head. Newman, who was in the squat position behind home plate, said to the umpire, "Give me a new ball." The umpire said he couldn't because the man on second base would score. Newman says, "I'll just hit a home run to tie the score, and that will even everything up." With teammates like Newman, Elmer, Sass, you never was out of a ball game, because at any given time they could get the big hit. Shupp, Rogala, Parkhurst, Plitt, Medler, when he was due, would always count on a big game. Wellsville and Olean and Batavia were stiff competition, but our team always showed up for that big game. I never will forget at Wellsville one time, Billy Whoop, a big, wild left-hander, and when he wound up, he looked towards second base before he threw home. You could never see so many players on our team cry, "Malevy, I'm sick, and I don't feel like playing." Malevy, at one time, even took a fungo stick up to hit home plate. I remember one time Wellsville manager asked the umpire to make the strike zone bigger. We always said that Jumpin' Jake Pittler of Olean used to doctor the balls, because when you hit it, it sounded like a pumpkin. And when Olean came to hit, Jumpin' Jake was always up at the umpire trying to change the ball. I remember in Hamilton, Johnny Newman always said that they put the balls in the refrigerator because they sounded like they were hit with no power when you hit it. But with this team that we had, we overcame all of those obstacles. Wellsville, Olean, and Batavia, and once in a while Hamilton gave us a lot of trouble. But Newman, Elmer, and Sass would hit one, or Shep and Rogala would always give you a good pitching game. I also remember all of the teammates when we used to take the travel. As you know, we traveled by station wagons. The pitchers in the first station wagon, and naturally the hitters in the second wagon. So we always talked over the game, and we always came up with a remedy in how to win the game. By some unknown thing or reason, we always came up big for the big game. As a rookie, your salary was never much to write home about. I remember Harry Bisgeier coming in the clubhouse after the game and asking if anybody needed any money. I asked a few times for $10, and I remember I tried to figure out how much I had to pay back with my salary at the end of the season. I went in and asked to see how much I owed him. And being the kind of a gentleman he was, he says, "You know, George, we had a very good season, and just forget the debt and go home and have a good year, and we'll see you next spring." As you know, after leaving Jamestown that year, I went into the Navy, and I spent 3 years in the Navy. I was very fortunate. At one time, I got to play with the Great Lakes Naval Training Station and with Mickey Cochran as the manager. And that helped me in a lot of ways in my different positions of hitting and learning the game a little bit more. You know, I can remember a lot of people in the town like Dick Sherman, Judge Barger, Fred Bigelow, and who could forget Mr. Kessler with his department store, where they kept us in fashion. Doc Sands at the YMCA always kept me going, and Smith's Cafe, they made sure that we had plenty of good meals. I also knew that the town would take us to heart when the mayor of the town came to spring training. What a joy. As the season went on, a number of town people invited us into their homes for dinners. Names I forget, but memories are still in my heart. I remember receiving a check for $108 for winning the pennant, and with that money, I purchased a dining room set for my parents. By the way, that dining room set is still in good shape. Recently, I received a letter from Greg Peterson informing me about a date in July where all the former teammates are invited to a day. But for me, it comes at a bad time, because on July 14th, 15th, and 16th, we are playing in a Tiger Alumni charity game in Toledo, Ohio. But as you know, my heart would always love to be there, but I would always like to say hello to all my teammates. As you know, we have a number of Jamestown ball players living in the Detroit area. But I'm sorry to report Scooter Koshorik and Jimmy Demetriadis have passed away. But Al Fedorov, Kenny Humphreys, Teddy Bartz, and Hal Pelot are still around. After leaving baseball in 1956, I played a few years with slow pitch softball and went into the construction business and am now retired and am enjoying every minute of it. Memories of baseball are still in my heart, and I never will forget the people of Jamestown and my teammates. Many times I wish I could have started my career over again, and Jamestown would be my first, most favorite place to start. Memories will never be forgotten. Thank you.